Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick here dropping in on you. Hope everybody is off to a great start. Hope you're off to a great start for the week. Hope you're off to a great start for the day. I hope that you are settled in and focused on your goals in whatever area that you are looking to advance and improve in. And hopefully, you're doing it in a very balanced way. Remember, even in those moments where it seems like you're not where you want to be, where you are feeling you're lagging, that you're not getting progress, that you may even be moving backwards. Remember that if you're still breathing, you're still in the fight. And the goal is to exhibit and execute persistence in a relentless way until you see results. And I guarantee you, if you remain focused, if you remain consistent, that you will produce results. I want to talk to you. We're coming off of a weekend where we had the Crushing Limiting Beliefs event. Uh, it was awesome. I gave away two $10,500 uh, platinum packages. So I'm going to be working with two beautiful people uh, for a year to help them achieve the goals that they're setting for themselves, to help them grow and improve. And I'm excited about that. This is what I do. This is what I love. And it's so necessary on so many different levels. We talk about advancing in life. We talk about being successful and however we define that. And I believe that it's important for you to define this success for you, how you're built, how you're made, what your desires are, what you want to do in this world. And you define success based on that. Um, I really believe that it is important. For me, success is real simple. It is the progressive pursuit of a worthy goal. It's not just the goal, it's the progression along the way that defines success for me. I believe if you're moving towards something, you're successful. I believe if you are making progress, you are successful. It's not just the goal, it's the movement, because every step in progression in incremental movement is becoming better. What I'm going to be next year isn't just going to all of a sudden magically culminate a year from now. It's going to be what I've done each and every day along the way that will determine how much I've grown in a year. So why not be satisfied and celebrate yourself for the progress you make that may not seem to be much, but is a part of the overall growth. I'm telling you, that's one of the most beautiful things you can do for yourself is celebrate your progress on a regular basis, not just when you hit a goal. You hit the goal because you made those incremental progressions. So again, celebrate yourself. But we're coming off of this beautiful event, Crushing Limiting Beliefs. If you missed the event, you can still get the course, the entire video course, along with all 15 modules. Um, that's a part of the course. You can get that. That's in the link box. What I'm excited about now is the next course coming up, which is Healing Emotional and Psychological Trauma. And I want to talk to you about why it's important to address unhealed trauma. First and foremost, a lot of people don't even realize that they're still carrying trauma. Now, the first thing that I want to get across is there is a difference in experiencing a traumatic event and being traumatized by the event. Not everybody will be traumatized by the same event. Some people will be traumatized, other people will get through the traumatic event um, without having any long-term or lingering effects. And there are a lot of different factors that come into play. What we have to understand is that when we experience a traumatic event at a level that it impacts our nervous system, and the body begins to keep a score of this impression or this intention, then we literally are experiencing an emotion that's associated with a negative experience. And now it's being coded into our cellular makeup. This is literally what happens. So when you have what's known as a traumatic memory, where you're actually reliving the event, you're literally going through a complete reliving of it. And the problem with someone who is traumatized is that the past event still presents a present threat to them mentally, emotionally, psychologically. So In other words, it has not yet been imprinted and integrated into their linear timeline where they subconsciously recognize it as an event in the past. They consciously know it's in the past, but when they start to experience it at a subconscious level, in other words, when something triggers it, it comes across as a current threat. And that can cause all kind of disruptions in a lot of the things that you are looking to accomplish. And far too many people are literally carrying the baggage of past trauma. Some realize it and just don't know what to do with it. Others have buried it so deeply and learned how to move about and pretend so well that they don't even recognize that they have a major event that is still impacting them, no matter how long ago it was. First, trauma is defined as anything that is deeply distressing or disturbing experience. Uh, the loss of a loved one, being in a car accident, surgery, uh, witness being, being a victim of violence, and it goes on and on. Witnessing violence, you don't have to actually be directly involved. There were people who were in the Twin Towers on 9/11 that weren't, from a professional opinion, weren't traumatized. They came out of it, and outside of being shaken a little bit, that wasn't a need for treatment. And a lot of that has to do with how much power they believe they experienced during the process. The more powerless you uh, feel you are in the middle of a traumatic event, the more impactful the traumatic event is. If you can some kind of way find your way to be a participant in your salvation or a participant in helping others or whatever. Say, for instance, you see a horrible car wreck and you're able to go in and help people get out and all of that, the chances of being traumatized by it are less likely. Doesn't mean that it can't happen. It just means that you're less likely. For the person who's just standing on the side watching it happen and can't do anything, there's a good chance that there may be a traumatic imprint. Um, the biggest thing to understand about this is that traumatic experiences are a past event that has not yet been integrated into your linear timeline that says it's in the past. However, it's in the past. What does that mean? You can't undo it. You can't go back and change it. It has happened. The good thing is that it doesn't have to be an ongoing event in your life, consistently interrupting your peace, interrupting your social capacity, interrupting your career, interrupting so many different things that these things have a tendency to do. I'm just going to share some of the things that I'm working up on this class with you to make you understand why it's so important. I mean, some of the things that you can expect when you are traumatized by something is the feelings of anxiety, a numbness, a disconnected, severe trust issues with people. Imagine how having an inability to trust people works out when you're trying to develop and cultivate relationships. And let me tell you something, no matter what you're trying to do in this world, we are social creatures. We are designed to work together. And if you're going to build something of notable value, it's going to require that you develop relationships. This whole idea of being self-made is foolish and it's not realistic. No matter how hard you work, no matter how hard you push, there's going to be times you're going to have to connect with people. You're going to have to work with people. In order to do this at the highest level, there has to be trust. And if you cannot develop that trust because of past experiences, it's going to interrupt your ability to do some exceptional things. Also, what it will do is it will start to make people not want to work with you, not want to be around you. It's going to be a problem, something that you need to prepare. And another misconception about trauma is that there has to be a certain level of perceived intensity of the event by external observation. In other words, if a lot of people believe if they look at something and say, man, that wasn't that bad, then a person shouldn't be traumatized to it. It's not the intensity of the event, it's the intensity of the experience. And those things aren't the same. The experience can be the same. That's why you can have 10 people go through the same experience and not all have the same results, because their perception of what is taking place is different, depending on their background, depending on where they're at mentally, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, and physically. It's going to determine how they perceive that event. Some people are going to perceive it to be just another challenge Other people are going to perceive it to be absolutely devastating, and that perception is going to have an impact on them. So it's the intensity of the emotional experience that actually creates the trauma. Again, you must separate traumatic experience from being traumatized. A traumatic experience is that thing that is immensely distressing and disturbing, and people can experience it and not be traumatized. So remember, we said that some of the things that can cause trauma are unexpected events like accident, injury, violent attack, natural disasters, domestic violence, emotional or physical abuse, bullying, childhood neglect, continuous threats, like living in a crime-ridden neighborhood, battling a life-threatening disease, people who are struggling and battling certain diseases like cancer, autoimmune diseases like lupus, can easily become traumatized by the very fear of a foreshortened future, of not living a long life. And that actually can have an epigenetic influence on the upregulation of said genes. So in other words, the stress of the fear, which traumatizes, can also lead to antagonizing the illness itself and making it worse. The worry and the stress is one of the most influential parts of any of those diseases. I have talked about that when I talk about epigenetics and the influence of epigenetics on the development of certain diseases. So we understand that. Some things that people overlook when they start to think about whether I could be traumatized or whether I've experienced trauma is surgery, the sudden death of a loved one, severed relationships. This is huge. People who have gone through breakups or have been separated from loved ones for whatever reason, those can literally create trauma, depending on the breakup, depending on how it went down, depending on how connected emotionally a person is to someone. Having that connection severed can be very traumatic, and it could lead to all of the things that you hear about. So again, why is it important for someone to begin the process of healing? Because the idea of functioning in this world is to be as close to whole as possible, physically, psychologically, spiritually, emotionally. You need to be whole. There needs to be a homeostasis, a harmony between all working parts, your body, your mind, your spirit self, your soul. All of these things need to work in unison and have a balance. And when that doesn't happen, you look at illnesses start to erupt. So you can literally start out with trauma, end up with depression. You can have what happens is you end up with an overwhelmed nervous system. So the nervous system starts to malfunction. It starts to send the wrong signals. It starts to release the wrong hormones. All kinds of different things create chemical imbalances, and you end up with depression, and you don't know what to do, and you don't know how you got there. And now there's another thing to come up, and now that becomes stressful. Now that becomes antagonistic, and now you're worried about that, and you get into this cycle. And it is immensely difficult to do the things that we naturally have a desire to do. No one wants to be stuck in a place of misery. No one wants to be in a place where they know it's something better for them and they can't have it. But yet, without putting in the work, it is impossible to elevate yourself at the levels that you are capable of living and operating at. So then what do? You have to start to work on yourself. Now, what I normally do is I work with people on a one-on-one basis, but I created this course some time ago, and I created it to be a self-paced course. And then I found out that some people could definitely do the self-paced part of it. And so but I also found out that there were people who really needed someone to walk them through the course and step by step. So I created a supported course. The supported course is you're taking the same course, but I'm walking you through it over a certain period of time, normally like 6 weeks. And over 6 weeks, we're walking through this course. I'm giving you the worksheets and everything. You're doing them, and we're going over them, and we're touching on some of the things you need to do, some of the practices and behaviors you need to change, how you monitor your thinking, how you approach your day. Everything is a part of this healing process. This is a comprehensive healing process. And then I realized that still there were going to be people who were going to look at it and say, maybe, maybe not, because it costs. And so I said, well, I believe in people investing in themselves. So I don't, I give a lot of content away free every day. This video is absolutely free and it's very informative. It's a lot that you're going to be able to learn if you go back and you listen to this video to give you an understanding of where you may be in a specific situation of dealing with trauma. And I do videos every day. So there are literally thousands upon thousands of videos out there now, literally. Not to mention the thousands of articles I've written on it, the 24 books that I've written on experiences and how to deal with certain things and healing and dealing with, it's a lot of stuff out there that you can get, but it's a lot of stuff out there that's absolutely free. You go to the website and read things. But when you're talking about dealing with something directly, especially where I'm going to be investing in you directly, I'm going to ask you to invest in yourself. So I created this masterclass, this event that we're doing on June 4th, Healing Emotional and Psychological Trauma. And it's $150. Now, the beauty of this thing is you're going to get a course that is priced anywhere from $400 for the self-paced to $1,500. If you work with me to do it, you're going to get it for $150. You're going to get it, and we're going to go through the basics. I'm going to let you ask questions. I'm going to present an opportunity for you to talk about where you're at, what you're going through, why you feel this may be stopping you. We're going to talk about how it's stopping you. I'm going to show you where the different things that are going on in your life right now are inhibiting you from doing some exceptional and extraordinary things. You have your gifts suppressed by past pain, and you don't understand that that gift is being squeezed by a past experience that you haven't properly processed. And we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to start talking about processing, and we're going to go through how you process. We're going to go through 19 modules, but I'm going to condense them into a very reasonable time frame. And you won't have to worry about what module we're in because I'm going to make it flow smoothly. And anyone who was at this past event will tell you the time goes by, you get everything you come from. But I am not stopping there. I am, as I did with this past event, I'm going to give away one platinum package. I gave away two this past week. Those things are $10,500. So I got to be careful because I'm trying to pace this out for the year. And I literally have to work with someone. When I give that away, that's so much of my time every week for a year. And I'm giving it away. But I want to work with people. And I know everybody can't afford $10,500, but a lot of people need that year. So I'm giving away one this time, but I'm also giving away a gold package, which is $6,500. And I'm giving that away. And that's a half a year. That's 6 months. I am doing that. So I'm going to do the same thing I did the last time. I'm going to have the class, and then I'm going to literally put the names in the bag, and I'm going to pull the names from the bag. That was probably the most exciting thing for me. I love teaching. I love working and helping with people is what I do. But when I can watch someone get excited because people show up and the last thing they're thinking is I'm going to win. And one of the people who won was there. The other person wasn't. Sheila Stevens. Keisha Stevens, sorry, wasn't there, but Alma Williams was. Alma literally just flipped out. I got all kind of thank you emails afterwards, and she was like, man, I was already prepared to type congratulations 2-2 in the chat box. And then I heard my name and I almost collapsed is what she said. I almost collapsed in the kitchen. I was in the kitchen when it happened. And, the beauty of that, not only did she get blessed with learning how to deal with some of those limiting beliefs that literally lock her into a box that governs her movement and her aspirations and the things that she's aiming for, she got a chance to work with me on a one-on-one basis and experience what so many people have experienced in working with me. And it's a beautiful thing, and I'm excited about it. But I'm going to give away a $10,500 52 session package. That's a year of working with me. I'm going to give away another one that's 6 months. That's $6,500 package. I want people to really approach healing because I see it far too much in the work I do. Hey, Terrell, I'm going to get you. I'm actually editing the video now, and I'm going to get it to you. I'm get it out to everybody who attended on Saturday. I'm going to get that video out to you on tomorrow. So I'll definitely get that out. Thanks for dropping in. So you'll get the video and you'll have that to go with the course you already have. So that's that. But here's the thing. I mean, there's so many things that trauma does to you that literally paralyzes it and shuts you down. And my goal is to set people free. And again, like I said, what we have to understand first and foremost is trauma is something that's coming back. Your traumatic memories are really the reliving of an event that had a negative emotional and psychological impact on you at a level that it interrupts your natural memory logging that your brain and your mind does to log things. In any natural experience, you do something, and immediately after doing it, it goes into past. It's been done already. You've experienced it. Whether it's the horror of going to the doctor. If you go to the doctor, and you're one of those people that don't like going to the doctor. Once it's over with, it's logged as something in the past. You no longer perceive it as a threat. That nervous feeling you're getting the whole time that you go to the doctor's, when you walk out the doctor's office, if the doctor hasn't given you any bad news, that feeling is gone. Why? Because you've automatically integrated that experience into your linear timeline. Now your brain says it's in the past. What does the past mean? The past means it has no influence or threat, immediate threat in the present or the future. So you don't have to worry about it. There's no anxiety. There's no fear. You might have a negative emotion attached to it if you didn't like it, but it's not going to happen to you again, until it's time to go to the doctor again. But right now, that threat is gone. So, but what happens in a traumatic experience is it happens, but it interrupts the natural integration into your linear timeline. So it remains this thing that you've experienced that will consistently re-erupt based off any number of triggers. Sometimes you know what those triggers are and you try to avoid them. Sometimes you don't know what will trigger you. It can be a smell. It can be a sound. It can be a word. It can be a color. It can be any of a number of things, but then you get triggered and immediately you start to sweat. Immediately you get anxious. Immediately you become fear. And what's happening? Your body's actually going into fight or flight mode, but it doesn't know why. But then you're literally reliving it. The same smells you smelled when it happened, the same thoughts, all of these things are starting to erupt, and it's a constant threat. And right now you're feeling the same threat, the same fear, the same hurt, the same pain that you felt that moment. Imagine constantly reliving that over and over again. How disruptive that would be to your relationships, how disruptive that would be to your progression in your career and your goals and what you're trying to do. My goal is to introduce you to processes that you can practice that are general processes that work for most people. In some instances, there are going to be people who need more direct help, and I'm hoping to have a chance to work with people who do. But if you bring your particular behaviors, you bring your particular questions, you bring your particular situations, I'm going to show you. Childhood experiences are huge in this because especially in our culture, if we're talking about specifically Black culture, and so far these classes have been pretty much us. So that's the approach I'm taking. I'm looking at how to help specifically my people, but I work in a realm where I offer my services in general. But in these instances where you're talking about culture, there's so many things, because number one, we're talking about the multi-generational perpetuation of trauma, where we are literally passing down trauma epigenetically, but we're also passing down trauma by way of social learning theory. What do we mean? We're literally teaching our children to behave as if they are traumatized, even when they're not. So now you got behavior that is, I've literally been trained to be anxious, and I've never experienced anything that should make me anxious or make me fearful. Why? Because I've watched mama do it all the time. So now I'm just anxious about stuff. I've sit up and seen where I've had to work with kids whose mom was in a car accident, and the car accident happened at a light. She's sitting at a red light, and a large truck runs through and hits her, couldn't stop and hits her, knocks her out into traffic. She gets hit again. Okay, so then she's got this trauma trigger of sitting at a red light. So she gets hyper anxious, hyper excited when she's sitting in the red light. She's very fidgety and everything like that. Well, she had kids eventually. She hadn't even had the kids when this happened, but she still had this thing. So now guess what? The kids get fidgety and anxious when they sit at a light. That's how we're perpetuating it down. That's how this thing can be. You can literally condition your progeny and others within your sphere to become agitated by the thing that has you traumatized. And so there's so much work that needs to be done. There's so much that I've put off into understanding this so that I can be a help. This class is just going to be an entry into the process of healing. You cannot be at the top of your game not being whole. And trust me, trauma subtracts so much from you that you are operating at a fraction of what you're capable of doing when you're whole. And healing is possible. That's the beautiful thing about it. You cannot change the past, but what you can do is you can properly process the past. You can heal from past hurts, and you can move into a new future without the inhibiting force of your past experiences. You should not be dragging the baggage of your pain around with you. And so what I am encouraging you to do is sign up. Like I said, sign up. And like I said, I'm investing, number one, my time. So I'm coming to meet you. You're going to invest. I'm going to invest for $150. You're going to get 2 hours with me. We got through it in less than 2 hours. We still got everything out of it. The only reason it didn't go a full 2 hours, after a few people, the other people kind of got quiet and didn't want to participate, and so there were no more questions. And so we did the drawing and gave out the gifts, and we kind of said our final farewells, and it was over. But everybody seems to be happy with it. I'm doing my rounds, still sending out emails to follow up. But here is what I want you to do. If you think for a second that there's something that you are dragging around that you haven't healed from, this isn't about your pride. This isn't about your privacy. This isn't about pretending, because see, you can pretend to everyone but yourself. Deep down inside, you know you're hurting. Deep down inside, you know you haven't dealt with it. Deep down inside, you know it's interfering with the life you want to live. You owe it to yourself to be the best that you can be. You owe it to your creator to be operating at the height of your design. And you cannot be operating at the height of your design if a part of that design has been compromised by something that you have endured in the past. It more than likely wasn't your fault, but it's your responsibility to deal with it. Somebody hurt you or something hurt you, but it's your responsibility to deal with it. You are going to have to take the responsibility to heal. When you heal, you become powerful. When you heal, you become whole. When you heal, you expand the capacity of your gift, because you uncover your gift from underneath all of that hurt, all of that pain, all of that fear, all of that anger, all of that bitterness, all of the things that have just been building up on top of it because you haven't dealt with it. I'm inviting you, join me. And here's what I'm going to do. Not only am I giving away a $10,500 platinum package and a $6,500 gold package, 6 months and a year of working with me. Today, anybody who signs up, I'm going to give you a rapid change breakthrough session, which is a $350 session to work with me. And that you can book with me at the first available time once you actually sign up today. So you don't have to wait until after the event for that to happen. If you need some immediate intervention, this would be a good time to get it, because I'm going to give you an hour free for signing up. Then I'm going to enter your name into a drawing to where you could win a platinum package or a gold package. But you should want to heal because you want to be the best you can be. On that note, I'm gonna get ready to get out of here. As I always say, I live my life on full, so that when I leave this place, I die on E. And I challenge you to do the same thing. On that note, I'm out of here. You guys have an unbelievable day.